Find out.
Hey gamers, what's up? Okay, so there was this discussion on ESPN Outside the Lines, OTL, about Kobe's involvement in that Black Ops commercial. It's a really good commercial if you haven't seen it. Maybe I'll throw a link up down in the description. But I really wanted to talk about it. First and foremost, I keep hearing everyone saying, Kobe appeared as a soldier in this Black Ops commercial. Seriously, people, how do you not get this? It must be a generational gap. I don't know where we lose our ability to understand the difference between fantasy and reality, or how people think he appears as a soldier, because he doesn't. He appears as himself playing the game. If anyone from OTL is watching this, please pay attention. The idea is that Kobe is at home playing the game, and the figure on the screen, though portrayed by him, is actually his video game alter ego, a soldier in the game being controlled by Kobe himself. It shows that you are in the game playing against anyone and everyone else. You could be fighting with or against Kobe, or maybe women with M16s and shotguns, nurses with grenades, blue-collar workers firing chain guns from helicopters, the local concierge with an AK-47 answering phone calls in the middle of the match, the guy from your local fast food joint dual-wielding pistols, or businessmen with snipers. It could even be Jimmy Kimmel jumping around that corner and taking you out with a rocket launcher. It's social, and it's just a game, and what they're showing you is how you're a part of it. And that's all that commercial is. The message the commercial conveys is that none of these people are actually soldiers. It only depicts what the game allows you to do, and that anyone can be part of the action. Kobe is not playing a soldier in the commercial, so right off the bat, all these people are really saying is they don't get games or what gaming is about at all. So right into it. This guy, Bomani Jones, says, quote, "It is very uncommon to see someone that's a mainstream star like Kobe Bryant endorse a product that is deemed inappropriate for children." And I gotta wonder where he gets this from. No, it's not uncommon at all. Gary Oldman, okay, he's a much bigger mainstream star than Kobe. He's an international movie star, and he's actually in Black Ops. David Cross, Nathan Fillion, Adam Baldwin, Ray Liotta, Bruce Campbell, Sam Jackson, and many, many other famous people have done voice work on violent video games. Liam Neeson, Malcolm McDowell, and Ron Perlman were all in Fallout 3. Keith David and Lance Hendrickson were in Modern Warfare. As a matter of fact, Keith David was also in Halo 2 and 3. Every R-rated movie that hits theaters is deemed inappropriate for children, just like an M-rated game. And just about every one of them showcases an individual or many individuals who are mainstream movie stars. Most of these stars are much bigger public figures than Kobe. And I'm talking about 90-minute movies, not 30-second commercials. The Expendables just came out on DVD and Blu-ray. It's got a huge cast of mainstream stars. Just about everyone in the movie is a mainstream star. It's R-rated. And the scenes of violence and warfare in the movie are far more explicit than anything in this tame, PG-rated commercial. By the way, go buy The Expendables. It's awesome. Love Stallone. Anyway, I don't hear anyone complaining about this movie. So why the double standard for Kobe? It's a commercial, it's a movie, it's film, it's acting. What's the point? Contrary to what Bomani Jones and the people of OTL think, Kobe Bryant is no frickin' role model. Let's take a look at reality. Now, from what I see in the news every day, if you need drugs, prostitutes, a good dog fight, a famous athlete is the first person you should talk to. Just recently, Lance Stevenson pushed his girlfriend down a flight of steps. Matt Barnes was arrested for domestic disturbance. Udonis Haslem, possession of marijuana. Steve Francis, public intoxication. And this is a good one. Former NBA All-Star Alvin Robertson was arrested and charged with child sex trafficking. I'll tell you what, just type NBA player arrested into Google and read You'll be all day long. Oh yeah, the NBA is a pillar of morality. They keep talking about the image of NBA players, and in 2003, Kobe was charged with rape. And him shooting a gun in a commercial is bad? Seriously. Rape? Black Ops commercial. I don't know. Then this moron, Dr. David Maida, gets on and they start talking about permissible violence and how we're a society at war. And the good doctor says, I quote, "It perpetuates this understanding that we shouldn't question war and the social problems that are attendant with war." You know, forgive my language, but is he fucking serious? Jesus, people, it's a game. There is no social commentary. This game is not a representation of the American people or their social values. It does not bring into question anyone's position on the war in Iraq or any other present conflict. It does not limit or impair anyone's ability to reason on their own. It has no effect on their political stance or beliefs. How does someone go to school for 8 freaking years and not understand this? Is there some rule that says the more you learn from a book, the less you're allowed to leave to common sense? Then, because they think it's somehow related, Robert Thompson, professor of TV and pop culture at the University of Syracuse, talks about America's Army, as if the military using a game at recruiting offices is some terrible thing. It's the Army! They train people to fight and kill for a living. So what if they use a video game simulation to pull in recruits? It's not about making a game that we all know can't teach you to kill or somehow inhibits your ability to question war. It's about bridging the gap between an old school military and a new tech savvy youth. Of course they have a game. Hell, they even have Kid Rock doing commercials. Warrior was pretty badass song, and it was used to make kids interested in the military. It played at theaters before the movies. You probably saw it, I know I did, for months on end, and you can even look it up here on YouTube or go to the website. I saw it many times. Kid Rock is a mainstream star. Why aren't they giving him crap? Why? Because it's not a bad thing. Hell, I'm a patriot and a former soldier myself, and I like that song. Freedom ain't so free when you breathe red, white, and blue. God damn right. I love Kid Rock, and he's one patriotic, badass redneck. So, what's wrong with promoting the military through games and music? Nothing. Nothing at all. Robert Thompson, professor of pop culture. The only problem is that you're 65 years old, and the only pop culture you know intimately is that of the 1960s, you frickin' hippie. You know, what happened to the patriotism America showed during World War II? I wish Americans still had the heart they had then. Then, Bomani, who, on a side note, has a name that sounds like a brand name. Bomani? Bomani Springs bottled water. Made from the finest water. From, you know, springs and stuff. Anyway, he says, and I quote once more, athletes are typically seen as endorsing what you would consider to be seen as more wholesome products. This dude must be on crack, as well as hating Kobe Bryant with a passion. He must be so jealous that he was never as famous, talented, or rich as Kobe or something, because that's just plain funny. He's hating. And then he says, quote, we have a real tricky sort of hypocrisy about when we're okay with people making references to war and when they're not. What? Look, from the last time I checked, no one, politicians excluded, ever had a problem stating their position on the war, talking about it, bitching about it, supporting or condemning it. Where the hell did he come up with that idea? What an ignorant man. Bomani Jones, you are an ignorant man. There was one voice of reason, though. One voice. And his name was Sundance. Not sure what I think about that name, but I'll tell you what, at least he knew what he was talking about. And you know what? That's what they really needed in this discussion. Someone who knew what they were talking about. Someone who understands what it's all about. Thank God he was present for that. But if you watch the video, look at the faces of those other guys when he's talking. They had no idea what he was saying. It was completely over their heads. They're completely oblivious. Which brings to question, why a bunch of dudes who have no idea what they're talking about would open their mouths on this national broadcast? They should be embarrassed. They know sports. Talk about sports. When it comes to video games, leave it to the pros. Leave it to those who know what they're talking about, because you haven't a clue. Here's how it is, folks. Yes, the Army uses games and music to pull in the youth. Kid Rock promotes and endorses the military. Sylvester Stallone makes violent movies about war and warfare, from Rambo to The Expendables. Other action stars do R-rated movies too. Famous actors do voice work on violent video games. Kobe and Kimmel make a few extra bucks making a funny commercial for Black Ops. It's no big deal. And for them to act like it is just sad and pathetic. They should do a follow-up report on their own ignorance in the field of video games, their inability to separate the fantasy world of leisure activities from reality, and their ineptitude in differentiating what famous people actually do with their free time and whether their participation in a video game commercial represents their real-life activities. They should stick to addressing the real violence and crime that people participate in, while leaving this petty, ignorant, irrelevant, and shallow attack on video games alone. More surprising than the fact that these nitwits took the time to publicly denounce Kobe and his role in this commercial is my interest in actually wasting my time talking about it. So I'm done. I leave you all with one thought. You want to talk about NBA stars doing horrible things? Shaq Fu. Shaq Fu.